Ego heard voices coming from Uwakwe's hut. As she tiptoed closer, the voices became clearer. Uwakwe's tone was gentle, and Oloma's laughter was soft. Uwakwe was her fiancé, and Oloma was her best friend. What could they be talking about alone? Why does betrayal always come from the people we trust? She felt like a knot had tightened in her heart. Oloma and Ego had been friends since childhood. They were inseparable, like two kola nuts in one pod. As Ego stood outside the hut, it felt like Oloma had suddenly spoiled their friendship. One way you can help them is to like and comment. If you further subscribe and share, they'll be grateful to you. The story continues. Ego thought, if you hold a thief by the wrist, he may get away free. But if by the neck, he has no emergency exit. With that, she opened the door without knocking. Uwakwe and Oloma froze like two little children caught with stolen meat. You too, continue. But remember, stolen love may seem sweet at first, but in the end leaves a bitter sting, she said coldly, and then walked away disappointed. She kept wondering, where did I get it wrong? They say a wise girl never visits her fiancé with friends more attractive than her. But as far as my memory could stretch, I can't remember ever directing Oloma to Uwakwe's hut, let alone taking her there. Then, when it comes to beauty, everyone knows there is no competition. But as the saying goes, beauty is in the eyes of the looker. Could Uwakwe's eyes be looking at what is not? She told her mother, Mama Ije, her disappointing experience. Mama Ije sighed, my daughter, a friend who easily became an enemy, is tired of pretending. She had always been an enemy. Be strong, Biko. The next day, Ego faced Uwakwe. His words were cold. Your hold on my heart is no longer strong enough. Ego wanted to scream, but managed to stay calm. As for Oloma, guilty conscience was eating her up. She would soon realize the truthfulness of Ego's proverb about the bitter sting of stolen love at last. Unknown to Ego, jealousy had taken root in Oloma's heart. How could she be getting all the attention? What about me? In her desperate plot to take what isn't hers, she didn't remember that a fowl hardly forgets who strips it of its feathers in cold weather. However, Ego wasn't one to let things slide without a word. She thought to herself, when a cockroach decides to dance in the open, it must be ready for the appetite of the chicken. For Ego's comment to be clearly heard, she had to leverage her past friendship with Oloma. So she visited her, not as a friend, but as a woman with a statement. She stayed outside. She listened quietly and peeped through a crack in the wall. Sensing that someone else was inside, she knocked on the door. Oloma opened and stood there like a proud masquerade, not allowing Ego to pass. As they exchanged tense looks, a masculine voice boomed from inside. Oloma, why don't you let your friend in? It was Ako, Oloma's elder brother, a quiet man often seen walking alone on the farm. Unaware of this recent event, he rebuked Oloma for treating her friend so unfriendly. With that, Ego congratulated herself and left. All she wanted was Ako's attention and sympathy, and she got it. Ego was determined to tell Oloma a proverb, that she, Ego, is the tutor of the dance step Oloma was beginning to learn. For her next statement, Ego kept a morning vigil for Ako. When she saw him passing, she quickly grabbed her clay pots and joined him. Good morning, Ako. How is the farm today? She asked with a friendly smile. It's going well, thanks to the rain, he replied. Ako apologized on Oloma's behalf, and they chatted casually. Ego diverted to the stream, which is not far from Ako's farm. Later that day, Ego went to the stream again and visited Ako on the farm. She offered him some water. Ako thanked her, believing she was just being kind to her friend's brother. She began visiting him often, bringing water and food also. Ako began to realize that Ego's kindness was not just incidental, but intentional. However, Ako was beginning to feel her. Why not? She's beautiful and kind to him. Given his reserved nature, he played along. He told himself, if the blind mistakenly steps on a snail, he picks it up with gratitude. knowing that Providence has favored him with meat. Ego reasoned, you took my fiancé, and now your brother is fallen for me. Don't call it revenge, call it replacement. A fair exchange is a good bargain. As the saying goes, one woman understands the ways of another woman. Oloma was enraged at the growing closeness between Ako and Ego. One evening, there was a knock at Ego's door. She opened it. Oloma was standing there. She was full of anger. Ego, you are trying to attract my brother's heart so you can turn him against me, huh? Oloma accused. Ego responded calmly. A person who hides a snake in her basket for a friend may one day feel its teeth. Oloma left angrily, but she was not done yet. She returned to Ako, spinning lies about Ego in an attempt to turn him away from her. Be careful with her. She's only using you to get back at me, she warned. Ako, however, wasn't easily swayed. A mountain cannot be moved by a storm, he said calmly. His confidence in Ego left Oloma speechless. Meanwhile, Uwakwe and Oloma's relationship began to weaken. Their once sweet whisper turned to loud arguments. The village was buzzing with gossip. Even the pot knows when the soup inside it is sour. One day, Uwakwe fell ill. The villagers whispered that his sickness was the consequence of betraying Ego. Oloma was overwhelmed and desperate. All she cared about was Uwakwe's well-being and how to get back his love. As the elders say, when the flood waters overwhelm the frog, it realizes that leaping is not the only escape option. She visited Ego's house once more, but this time for a different reason. Her face was full of worry. Ego, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. My burden of guilt is heavy. Help me, else I lose everything. Ego looked at her calmly and said, Oloma, you hurt me deeply. I trusted you, but you betrayed me completely. I warned you about the twisted nature of stolen love. Sweet in the beginning, but bitter at last. But you didn't listen. Go, forgive yourself. Oloma left with a heavy heart. She knew Ego's forgiveness would be the beginning of her healing. As for Ego and Ako, each passing day saw their love grow stronger. What started as an unusual statement was turning into a beautiful story. Ego found herself feeling more for Ako than she had imagined. His gentle nature, his hard work were healing her heart. She couldn't help but think, am I getting back at Oloma or am I falling for Ako? In time, the answer became clear. The attention she sought from Ako was to stare Oloma, but now she's the one being stirred, finding love in an unusual circumstance. Remembering the good times they shared as friends, Ego decided to visit Oloma. She said, I was bitter, but now I'm better because I've forgiven you. Oloma couldn't believe what she was hearing. She just sat there, speechless. Finally, she found her voice and blurted out, Thank you for forgiving me. I'm sorry for all the troubles I served you. Take my brother. Take me also. Take my support also. May God favor you and Ako. One evening, as the sun set, Ako took Ego's hands and offered her a simple ivory carving of two hearts joined together. Ego, you are kind and refreshing. Will you share your life with me? He asked, his voice full of emotion. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. Ako, I will walk with you wherever life leads us. Their wedding was a joyful celebration of love and new beginnings. But Oloma stood in the shadows, silently watching. The love, the laughter, the joy, all reminded her of what she had placed on the line. First, her precious friendship with Ego, then Uwakwe's love, and now her brother's affection. She would have lost them all had she not found the courage and humility to apologize. Seeing Oloma lost in thought during the wedding festivities, Ego approached her with a warm smile and embraced her. You know I've forgiven you, she whispered to her. We are family now. Forgive yourself also. By the way, where is Uwakwe? Teasing her to lighten the moment, she added, You can't take my man anymore because she's your sibling. They laughed together. As Ego and Ako laughed, Oloma realized that her jealousy had only left her with a full basket of regrets. Friends, let's chat. Do you think Ego did the right thing? If you were in Ego's place, what would you have done? Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trust? Moral lessons. 1. The pain of betrayal lasts longer than the temporary pleasure it brings. 2. Love has the power to soften even the hardest heart. 3. The pit we dig for others is more familiar with us. Did you enjoy this story? Like and share. Remember to subscribe and tap the notification bell for more captivating